Number 1 is the City Attorney Report and Ordinance relative to amending the Los Angeles Administrative Code to authorize transfer of unencumbered money in the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment Fund to the reserve fund or the unappropriated balance.
Okay. City Attorney.
All right, Gwen Poindexter, Assistant City Attorney. This matter was continued. I think we want to have a continued dialogue and discussion with the CAO's office and our office about what this ordinance does or does not do. Unless your
Sure.
Chief of Staff can clarify if I'm
We got
wrong
a
in that.
$1 billion shortfall, and looks like we're nickel and diming our way to, without pulling the trigger on the big issue. So how much money are we saving here?
Terry Sauer, CAO's office. Mr. Chairman, as we had stated in our initial report last year, it was around $237,000. At this point, we're continuing to work with the controller and Dunn to determine how much might be impacted in the current fiscal year. Some money was transferred through the
We
finance.
still don't know?
Regrettably, no. We still.
The regret is coming from which end? The controller's end or the CAO's end?
Our staff has been working with the controller, and our staff is pretty much in concurrence with the controller. We're still working with the department to clarify their records and resolve their accounting records so that we're all on the same page as we go forward for the next fiscal year. We're not quite there yet. There's some additional information. Wilson Poon of our staff, who's the department analyst, is here and can.
Do we have a range of how much money we're talking about?
Well, in terms of the sweeping money, the money that's in excess of 150,000, very minimum, maybe even none at all. Most neighborhood councils have been really good in spending down their the money that they've been given, so there might not even be any excess money this year to sweep.
You know what? I'm really getting frustrated with the CAO in terms of not identifying major savings and nickel and diming us. We had a whole discussion the other day on something, and they couldn't even tell me how much money we were saving. We spent 2 hours in the council on an item that eventually amounted to $100,000 this year.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, we do understand your frustration. However, some of the problems that we've encountered in reconciling the department records with the controller's records is directly related to the use of the credit cards by the neighborhood council, and there is a lag between those actions, those transactions by the neighborhood councils being properly attributed to the individual neighborhood councils. We're not involved in that record-keeping process. As we discussed in the last meeting.
So why are we going after this?
Well,
Actually, we're going after it because, if you recall, the city council basically gave the city attorney instructions from after the Budget and Finance Committee to write an ordinance consistent with Exhibit E of the budget report, which basically wanted the ability to transfer any excess funds remaining in the fund to the reserve fund when necessary.
And Mr. Chairman,
That's what we did.
This does not specifically this applies to both done budgeted funds that are unexpended at the end of the fiscal year and that are not reappropriated, and anything that would be available through the sweeping policy. So it's not just targeted at the neighborhood councils.
And quite frankly, the money that's left over from the neighborhood councils is going to vary from year to year, depending upon how much they spend. So it's a moving target.
Well, it seems we're spending a lot of money, a lot of time and energy on something that's going to produce very little. And it's like, I surrender. Well, what are we supposed to do? We've got to find $400 million, and we're looking for 50,000. That's not going to do it.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, as we mentioned, this was part of last year's adopted budget. We continue to work with the department, and as we go forward in preparing this year's budget, we'll have a better, once the controller and the department are in agreement, we'll have a much better idea as to how much money is available for sweeping.
I don't think the department's ever going to be in agreement with the kind of cuts we're going to have to make this year.
That's probably true, sir.
So what are we waiting for? I mean, every day we wait means further cuts in the future. We need the CAO to come in with some serious recommendations about how to trim this budget so that we can reduce the impact next year. And I'm not seeing it.
Mr. Chairman, we've already transferred money that was over-allocated as a result of these record-keeping problems last fiscal year. That was recently done in the financial status report. This was a recommendation in last year's budget to provide the council the maximum flexibility. All this is an enabling ordinance, and typically anything...
I recognize all that it is. It's very little. And I don't think our CAO ought to be spending so much time on such a small item. I think the controller needs to work with the department to get them to clear up their records. And, you know, for that, that's their job. But
Yeah, I would concur.
More importantly, I think the CAO needs to tell us what's going to happen next year.
Mr. Chairman, as soon as the budget is formulated and released, we'll be happy to discuss it with you in detail and sit down with your staff and provide you. At this point, the budget is still being prepared and it's not ready for release.
I know.
I'm just the messenger. I understand
just
that.
going to say, I'm just talking to the messenger.
Yes, I
Send the
understand.
message.
Yeah, I
I'm
will
not
send.
talking about this item per se.
Yeah, yes, sir. I understand that.
The CAO needs to buckle down and come in with some substantive recommendations instead of coming to us for hours worth of discussions on items that aren't going to impact our budget whatsoever.
Mr. Chairman, when we're facing a budget similar to this budget crisis as we have in the past, we have to look everywhere.
This crisis.
It's almost as bad as the early 90s, and typically
It's going to
this,
get worse.
and we understand that, and this is, you know, we're looking in the couch for coins, and we're looking everywhere, and, you know, these are small pieces, and while it seems insignificant to you, we're
My dad used to be an upholsterer, and I used to find a lot of coins in couches, but
we're looking for a
never
lot.
enough.
Yeah, never enough.
People.
Yeah, we understand your
Because
concerns and your
I'm sending a
frustration.
message.
Yes,
Your
sir.
boss, that he needs to buckle down and send us some real recommendations. And I'm not talking about this committee, I'm talking about the council. And he needs to give us some clue of what the direction is. It's not about the mayor and him working out a budget and presenting it to us. It's about him giving us some advance warning about what is going to happen. Because we're sending mixed messages to the community. And their anticipation is, you know, their services are going to be maintained about the same level because we're doing it now, when in fact, we're going to be cutting service dramatically. And then we're going to have to take a major hit next year because we don't have the guts to put something on the table now. And that's what I'm talking about. And it's not about you.
No, I understand that, sir.
You only do what you're assigned to do. As far as I'm concerned, this is a nothing item because there, like you said, there may not even be any money there. And I don't want the CAO to spend any more time on it. You know, I really don't.
Wholeheartedly concur.
We'll find $20 million and then we'll talk, but this isn't going to help us. So anyway, there's no cards on this. I'll move it out of committee.
Thank you, sir.
And let the council decide, but I hope I don't even see you in committee, in the council, because I want you to go find more important money. You know,
I'm doing my best.
yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, I think our departments are looking, some departments will be looking at 20% cuts. And others, you know, we're going to try and save the public safety elements, but if we don't make those cuts soon, next year, we're going to have to make draconian cuts that are going to cause lives to be lost.
Yeah, we understand that,
I
sir.
don't want that to happen. Anyway, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Let's move it out of committee and
Okay, and for clarification, the committee is recommending approval of the ordinance.
yes.
Okay,
The
thank you.
chair.
The chair, yes,
chair
thank
is.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Item number 2, motion,
You what? Okay, first of all, I can't hear you.
I had a piece of paper here for item 1.
I can get internet here, but I can't get it up there.
You mean over there? No, we don't want it up there. We want it
With
right
regard to
here.
item 1?
I have no problem with that.
Okay, because
We don't need to get anything.
60 days
We
on
need to
bonus
show them
number.
with this right
What's
here.
this?
We can turn it around.
Okay, one second.
That's all we need. Good.
Actually, I'll ask for the report from the CLA. I don't want to bother the CAO with this item again, but the motion would include a direction to request a separate, that we separate the neighborhood council allocation from the general fund. I'm not exactly sure what we're doing here. Can you get on the record and tell me what you're recommending I do?
Yeah, Saeed Ali, Councilman, what we're recommending is the committee direct the CLA to come back to you with a report in 60 days and do two things. One, within the Empowerment Fund, which funds both the department as well as the neighborhood council, to separate that fund into two sub-accounts, one for the operation of DUN and one for the operation of neighborhood council.
Okay.
And secondly, have the CLA come back with a report with a better definition for the neighborhood council account with regards to encumbrances, year-end balances, so that it helps the CAO and the controller in the future determine how much money is actually there that's left over.
Are we not plugged in?
Yeah.
All right.
Morning.
Why don't you come into my committee and you disrupt the
I apologize.
unusual activity?
Well, we're just trying to get you some information. I apologize there. I don't mean to
Hope it's
disrupt
not
anything.
item number one.
No, it's not one. We did one on one. If we were in council on one, we put brakes on everything except police and fire. That was last Friday. Everything's got brakes on now.
That's not what I'm talking about.
All right.
Anyway, message delivered. Okay, and including the end of fiscal year sweep and those definitions, I think would be helpful for the department and the council. For example, last week or 2 weeks ago, we discovered that encumbrance was quite different than what we thought it was.
Right.
So, okay.
Yes, sir.
That's ordered. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is a motion by Labange Garcetti relative to directing the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, other city departments to notify neighborhood councils of the Los Angeles Police Department's e-policing program and to encourage participation.
I noticed there is a laptop here.
That's correct. I'm Tom Labange of the 4th District. This is Lisa
Some kind of
Schechter of the
formal
4th District.
presentation that
Not a
you'd like to
formal
make.
presentation. This is just to simplify the issue. Councilman, you have great history and knowledge of the city
Simple.
in your service.
With me, simple is better.
You got it. And the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment General Manager's here, if you would like to join us. Richard, more and more people throughout the city, and I don't know the number, would be a good number to get, are using the computer more and more. And the policing is information is knowledge is power. People want to know what's going on. They have e-policing. You ever seen this card here? This is Exhibit A. No. That's the Los Angeles Police Department's effort to include people with some real-time information. Something happens, they get it out. Basically, I brought a laptop up. I asked for this in the last 5 minutes, and we're going to try to assist and push out more information as knowledge is power concept, where the police department and the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment would work diligently to tell people the tool, what it is to get information. Because often, I had a situation recently in my district where there were 3 assaults, but the assaults were not directed at hate crimes, but they were just plain assaults. But they went out over the internet as hate crimes. And then that brought a whole fury of interest in other areas there. We're trying to clarify that through the process of technology. At the same time, the 3 assaults were not on the e-policing system of the LAPD at the time, so people weren't aware there was a pattern in practice, both in Mr. Garcetti's district and my district, of these assaults that were taking place. So I just ask that we send this forth to council. It doesn't cost any money. All it costs is people getting together and a focus. And I think our general manager of the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment could speak to this as well.
Bong Wan Kim, Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. The department is very supportive of this new tool that neighborhood councils will be able to use to track public safety issues in their community. Other than land use, public safety is probably the number 2 issue that most neighborhood councils are concerned with. So my understanding is that our role would be to educate neighborhood councils, describe what the tool is, do some trainings, and talk with LAPD about how we could get this tool out to more neighborhood councils.
Who could be opposed to this?
So thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'll say no more.
The one point I do want to make is, when I served in the Senate and was on the Energy Committee, it was Energy and Communication, we did a hearing on the digital divide. And one of the interesting things that we found, and this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, but one of the most interesting things that we found was that California is very unique amongst all the states because of the volume of use by senior citizens on the internet. In fact, we are the only state in the union that has, I think it's something like 30% of all senior citizens are using it. And we really had no conclusion as to why, compared to other states that were under 5% typically. It might be because they have family back east. It might be because, our seniors are cooler and are more up to technology. I think it's mainly because it could be that we have more access for senior citizens in our assisted living locations, our senior housing program. I don't know, but for some reason, California uniquely, in California, senior citizens are connected to the internet more than any other state. And so that's an opportunity for us to target them for this kind of connection with the LAPD, because quite often that is their only way out of their residence. But it can be an interesting opportunity. And so I just want to mention to the department that there may be an opportunity to target senior citizens to expand this program. But no, this is a simple one.
Good. Well, thank you. I think because we have a great public library system in California.
I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah. See, I know. So that's good there. So, but California has a great public library system. I think throughout it's of value. Maybe that is something that's why people are on the internet more. Whatever the case may be, more and more people are, whatever it is, and I think the digital divide is becoming less and less, but that's because technology is advancing and cost is coming down to these products.
I can't stress how unique that the use of senior citizens on the internet was.
Right.
There was no explanation. They couldn't figure out why.
When we come to
I
council,
don't think it's the state library system, with all due respect, but for some reason, our folks are using it more.
when we come to council, we'll ask that there be a quick presentation by the LAPD, so they could, so everybody could know, because like
I will
yourself.
allow you to make that request.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Zine just
Mr.
arrived.
Zine moves,
Yes,
and
in.
I second.
Okay, good.
I'll join you on item number 1 also.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair, staff,
I
thank
think
you.
we're done, right? Okay, we have one more, we have a public comment card from Dr. Clyde William.
Clyde Williams, 4115 Barrett Road, El Sereno. The technology that they were just discussing is about 3 years out of date. They should go to their officers who are less than the age of 25 and talk about Twitters and things like that. Even my grandchildren.
How much does it cost?
Hmm?
How much does it cost?
Nobody really worries about the cost. It's a 100-character limit on messages, and it's virtually instantaneous. And being a senior citizen, yeah, I do.
Can we include in that motion order to look into Twitter?
We can do that.
Great, we're done. Thank
Just
you
talk
very
to those less than the age of 21.
much. Okay, we're going off on a tangent, but
Okay.
please.
Okay, on the agenda. Last time I was here, I did not put in a card regarding the appointment of new commissioners for Dunn, I think it was. And a lot of the neighborhood councils are suffering from on-the-job training of Dunn and its supervision management. We don't know what's going on. We're all volunteers. And we hear, just experiencing what you guys have gone through here. I was with Parsons for 20 years, and budget. We're also trying to deal with budgets at the neighborhood council levels. People have to anticipate what's going on. I always go back to the city council. They have a community impact statement. It takes us 3 months to get any resolution passed to issue a community impact statement. Does Dunn help us in trying to promote more community impact statements into the city council proceedings? We seldom know what's going on. We have in El Sereno, we have State Route 710 coming through. Nobody seems to know what it is. In fact, one of the borings is attributed to the city of El Hamra when in fact it's in El Sereno if you look at Zimas. So we don't know what's going on. We don't have access to a lot of the information. The internet is quite useful. Twitters would be better. Direct emails to cell phones. So, thank you.
Thank you. No other public comment cards. This meeting is adjourned.
Okay, good seeing you.